We're right around the corner from July 4th. It's also known as Independence Day in the United States. Today's show has a similar tone. Episode 161, Being Independent in the Workplace. Don't wait for your job to offer you training, a promotion, or suggest a new role. Take matters into your own hands and be independent now. Tune in to find out how. I was an engineer, and in 2008, lost my job due to the economic collapse. Jobs were scarce. I didn't know where to turn to get help updating my resume. Online services and coaches charge hundreds, even thousands of dollars. I took matters into my own hands and learned how to craft interview-winning resumes. Shortly later, I landed a job with a Fortune 500 company. I've helped many achieve similar success. Now I share my tips to create interview-winning resumes, interviewing excellence, and high-performance growth strategies on my podcast, Career Growth Made Easy. Hey there, and welcome back to the Career Growth Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Craig Ansell. You know, tomorrow is Independence Day, July 4th in the United States, and it's a lot to celebrate. But today's show made me think, what could we talk about with regards to independence? And hence, being independent in the workplace came up. The reason why I said what I did in the intro, which was don't wait for your job or your work to offer you training, a promotion, or suggest a new role, is because while those things sound great, it's the beginning of the sentence that should catch you off guard. Don't wait. That gives the job, that gives your work the power to potentially hold you back, to potentially set the time limits or schedule for your potential growth, your potential promotion, your potential pay raise. A lot of potential there. But what if you were to take matters into your own hands and be independent? Take actions. Make plans. Map out new training. Maybe coaching. Think about what paths to promotion or leadership roles you might be interested in. That's what I want to talk to you about today and kind of get you thinking. For example, if you're unhappy at work, maybe dissatisfied with your job, then those conditions likely won't change unless you take action. I think there's an old saying, and it's called the insanity principle. Doing the same things and expecting different results. Why did I bring that up? Let's say you're unhappy or dissatisfied with your job or your working conditions, and you continue to just suffer. You continue to feel the draining energy, your life being sucked out of you, if you will, and you do nothing about it. Well, that means that you're not taking action. That would be not taking action and expecting different results. If you don't take any action, if you don't make an effort, what are the odds things will improve? Recently, I spoke to a few of my listeners that were in a situation with difficult and unhappy working conditions. Their leadership, quote, and I use the word leadership weakly, their leadership was poor. They shared there was mismanagement of their weekly schedules. It included cutting shift hours erratically, inappropriate language at the workplace, and even inappropriate direction during their shifts. I'm really disappointed to hear those things going on in the world today, especially with so many help wanted signs out there, at least in the U.S. And I had a show on that earlier that talked about help wanted signs, not only for employers to give them feedback and advice how to hire people and how to get the best candidates, but also for applicants, how to pick and choose the right locations, the right jobs, so that you are potentially the best fit for the role and the company is the best fit for you. So what's going to cause you to become independent in the workplace? Well, there's another saying, and I do like to use sayings and acronyms because I think it helps us teach, it helps us remember. You will take action when the pain of the same is greater than the pain of change. It's a lot of words, but let me break it down for you. Human nature is to resist change, at least for most of us. We commute consistently to work, taking regular pathways to our work or school. When we sit down in a classroom, a break room, or an office meeting room, we typically search out the same chairs, the same location, similar seating. We like familiarity. So it's important to know this and recognize how we're wired as human beings. Because I believe the more knowledge you have gives you power. So going back to what I talked about earlier, about the pain of same versus the pain of change. Think of it as a balance, as a scale. One side is your existing job, and one side is, potential new roles out there, job applications, job descriptions, maybe creating your resume or updating it. And you put those two things on a scale and you say, well, my current job is weighing me down. I'm unhappy with the leadership. I'm unhappy with the management. I don't get treated well, not even respected. In these couple of my students and listeners' cases, they said flat out they would come into their work shift knowing that their hours were going to be cut. I don't know about you, but listening to this show, you're likely targeting career growth. You're looking to accelerate in your career. And you're looking for the next steps, maybe some guidance, some inspiration. Getting up, knowing you have a shift at work, good. You're looking to contribute, make some money, right? Maybe change some customers' lives. But going in, knowing that your hours are likely to be cut because it's a recurring pattern at this store, at this company, is really disappointing. If you have a budget, congratulations. But what wrecks budgets worse than anything else? Inconsistent income or surprise expenses. They can both do some serious damage. Today's show isn't about budgeting or finance, though we should have another show on that in the near future. But it's about you being able to expect the hours that you were scheduled to work them and do your job. That's part of being the show about being independent today, being independent in your workplace. If you're a recipient of these problems, of these challenging or disappointing conditions, if you don't take action, very likely nothing will change. Matters will stay the same, or they could possibly get worse. In these poorly managed companies, where hours are getting cut what seems to be randomly, if it's already happening and nobody speaks up, what's to say it's not going to get worse, and they'll cut more hours. They'll schedule more inconsistently. And again, if you have a budget, great. You need to rely on that income so that you can pay your bills, so you can survive, you can live. Now, maybe today's discussion isn't only about hours being cut and shifts being scheduled or cut erratically, but it could be about your treatment in the workplace. It could be about the fact that you've been in the same role for months, years, and you don't feel there's a path for promotion, a path to success. It's kind of just a mundane, rundown job, and you've just kind of, became comfortable, almost complacent, and you've kind of just settled in to your position. Part of that is good in the sense that you're comfortable, you're experienced with what you do, and you might do your job really, really well. But then when that complacency comes in, that's where we kind of have a problem. We don't recognize the opportunities for growth or the fact that we might want to challenge ourselves, go above and beyond where we are today, see what other positions, what other topics, what other tasks we can take on that can challenge us to help us grow in our role and provide more value to our role, to our company. But if you're just in a place where that company just doesn't touch your heart and you just feel kind of out of place and just, put off by it, a sour taste in your mouth, maybe it is time to become independent. And backing up to the beginning, when I said don't wait for your job or your company to offer you training, a promotion, or suggest a new role, all we have to do as one of the potential solutions for today is flip that around. You take action. Now, I know that's a lot harder to do than it sounds, but step by step, like with coaching of many types, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, meaning that elephant is so large, it's insurmountable. We don't think we're going to be able to accomplish it. We're going to be able to get that elephant out of our way or move that elephant. If you take small, actionable steps, you're likely to make progress. So, for you, with regards to independence this week, what's on your mind? Has something been nagging at you, something gnawing at you, maybe twisting your gut? I really wish I had more experience in this. I've watched some colleagues and they've really seemed happy in this other role here or in this department. You know what? I've realized, Craig, listening to your show, I actually like what I do, but I don't like who I work for. Ouch. It sometimes is hard to have those conversations with your team lead, supervisor, or manager to talk about the uncertainties and unhappiness of your role, and those matters should be discussed very delicately. But if you can do your role for a different leader, for a different group or department in your company, that saves the concern, potential anxiety, stress, and fear of leaving your existing role, going out into the job world, starting up job applications, updating your resume, and having to prove yourself to new companies. If you can transition within your company, all the more power to you. So think about that when it comes to independence. What one step might you do this week while we celebrate July 4th, Independence Day in the U.S., that makes you a little more independent? And that's really the theme for today. It may be something I touched on. It may be something that's bothering you and you're not sure. But if you just take the time to unravel it, then maybe you will be in a better place going forward. Remember what I said about familiarity. Try it out. The next time that you enter a room, whether it's for school, for work, training session, you enter some building, you seek out similar pathways, you seek out the same or similar seating. Even if movies, there's certain areas you like to sit, okay? When you get into a car with multiple people, unless you're the driver, is there a particular seat you like to be in? There's nothing wrong with that. That's where we get comfortable and we like familiarity, like I said. But knowing this, maybe it'll make you smile as a reminder next time you get in those situations. Say, you know what? I remember on Craig's show this week that he talked about complacency, familiarity. I think I'm going to challenge myself. Maybe today I'm going to sit somewhere different. Maybe today I'm going to approach a different group of friends, a different group of students at school, just try to network. Maybe at work, I'm going to go down a different aisle. You have cubicles or offices, and introduce yourself to someone different. Maybe at lunch, you'll sit with someone different, or just start up a conversation based on overhearing something that somebody likes. Maybe they have a particular trade, a skill, a hobby that maybe you can align with. The point about this is about habit breaking. Taking the action to break your existing habits and be a little bit independent will give you that feeling of energy, awe, and excitement. Again, knowing how we act, we can become more independent rather than dependent, both in our workplace and in our personal lives. If you have a particular challenge at work and you're not sure where to turn, I sit by ready to help you. I offer one-on-one discovery coaching where we unpack your situation and determine what's going on and put down some concrete action steps to help you move forward in a successful path. In some cases, with some of my discovery coaching students, they have been able to stay at the same job, apply for a different role, and in some other cases, they also stayed at their job but worked for a different leader, somewhat as I mentioned earlier in the show. And yet, in some cases, it's the company culture that has become toxic, or the company leadership, like I talked about earlier today, with the lack of continuity with scheduling, the erratic leadership, to put it lightly, leadership. If you're in a situation like that and I'm not sure where to go, where your next step is, I highly encourage you to reach out. Please visit my website, craigansell.com. That's CRAIGANCEL.com. And I have a coaching tab. Pick the Discovery Coaching and we'll work together one-on-one privately to unpack what's going on in your situation and set you up for success in your professional career journey. I can't thank you enough for being around on this holiday week to listen to my show and spending a few minutes with me. This has been episode 161 of the Career Growth Made Easy podcast, being independent in the workplace. I challenge you to start your independence today. God bless you. Happy July 4th. I look forward to talking to you next week. Don't forget to visit my website, craigansell.com, and take a look around. Take action today. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our channel. New episodes every Monday. In the meantime, why don't you follow us on social media at Craig Ansell on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. To book a coaching appointment, download our free guides, or join our email list, check out the links in the description below.